welcome to another episode. In today's episode, I am going to be talking about the console, and I am also going to be talking about console.log. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. So let's get started. Okay, everybody, so to get started in today's episode, the first thing that I need you guys to do is to open MDN. We're going to be using MDN today. And the next thing that I need you guys to do is to have also opened the website that we have been working so far in this course, because I am going to be making some adjustments so that you can go ahead and actually see how the console works, okay? So let's go ahead and let's get started first by explaining to you what is the console. So if you go to JavaScript and you go to references, you can be in JavaScript, or you can go ahead and type in here on this search box just the word console. You can hit console and then hit enter, and you're going to get this. So let's read a little bit first, and then I am going to explain you in my own words what is the console. So the console, as it says here, the console object provides access to the web browser debugging console. So it's the web console in Firefox. So the specifics of how it works varies from browser to browser, but there is a facto set of features that are typically provided. So in other words, I will put this simple to you. The console is what we are going to be using for, well, I'll say for three primary reasons. The first one is for debugging, to find the errors that we have in our code, because when you're coding, especially in JavaScript, sometimes probably you're going to forget to input, I don't know, maybe a period or maybe columns, etc. So, or if you have, let's say, an error on a variable or something else, then the console is going to tell you exactly where, in which line that error is, and what exactly is that you're doing wrong in your code. So that's the first reason why we are going to be using the console. Now, the second reason why we are going to be using the console is because sometimes we want to display some information in the console and not specifically on the website. So it can help us identify variables and some other stuff that I will talk about later on in the course. And the third reason is also to check timing, because we want to know how long does it take, let's say, for a function to run. So the console help us do specifically that. It's going to show us how much time does a function takes to actually be executed, and so much more. So I'm not going to go in depth into showing you each example, but I'll show you exactly what the console is and how you can have access to it. So if you have any browser, well, in fact, I would like you to work with Google Chrome. So if you're not working with Google Chrome just yet, please just download Google Chrome from any other web browser. You can simply go here to, you can type in something like Chrome download, okay? And then you're going to get probably the first link on your web browser is going to take you to download the Google Chrome. And all you have to do is just click on the first link that you have, and then there you go. You can go ahead and actually click the download button. Now, I already have it downloaded and installed on my computer. So, because this is, my primary web browser. So this is the one that I recommend you guys to use for this course, because it has a whole bunch of things that can help you out when working with JavaScript, okay? So to access to the console, if you're already in Google Chrome, the first way that you can access to the console is giving a right click to your web page and then click inspect. If you click inspect, you will get this window right here, and then you can go ahead and you can click where it says console, okay? And in there, as you see, you are going to be able to see, well, the console itself, right? And this is the portion that we want to be able to take a look at. Now, the second way, I'm going to close this out. The second way you can access to the console is by clicking these three dots that you see right here. You can click there, and then you are going to go where it says more tools. And in there, you're going to have an option that says developer tools. So you can click there as well, and you're going to have access to the console directly. Or the third option that you can use to get access to the console will be by hitting Command, Option, and then the letter J on your keyboard, and you are going to be able to get the console. This is if you're on a Mac. You just hit Command, Option, and then the letter J, and you're going to have access to the console. Now, if you are on a Windows, what you are going to be clicking at is going to be Control Shift J. Okay? So there you go. Those are the 3 ways that you can access to the console. I already mentioned the reasons why we use this. First one, debugging. The second one is to display some information on the console that you want to get a variable or something. And then the third option, and the third reason, that we want to have access to the console is to display the time that it takes for something to run. Okay, so those are primarily, I'll say, the 3 main reasons that I'll use the console. Okay, so the first thing that I want to explain you here is that, typically when we're coding with HTML or CSS, I have been doing changes to our document, right? To our index document or CSS document or whatever document. And then whatever change that I do is going to display on this website right here, right? And that's how you have been noticing, how we have been working with our website. And you can see the changes that we're doing to it. Well, for JavaScript is going to be a little bit different because sometimes the code that we write for JavaScript, when we use it, the user will be able to interact with it. But when we're coding portion by portion, the users cannot see exactly what we're doing, right? So it's kind of like invisible for the web browser itself, some sort of code. I'm not saying all of them, especially if we're working with the DOM, well, obviously the user will be able to see it. However, if sometimes they cannot see it, then we as developers have to use the console to see what are we doing, okay? So instead of taking a look at changes here, you will be able to see your changes in here with console. So let me go ahead and do the following. I am going to delete all the code that I have written already on JS. I'm going to hit save, and in our index.html file, I want to delete the paragraph we added and the button as well. And here we're going to type in the H2. So we're going to just put here JavaScript demo, and that's it. Okay, so I'm going to hit save, and I'm also going to hit save on the other document. Going back here, let's hit refresh. Okay, there we go. So JavaScript demo, we have changed everything. Now we do not have anything on script.js, and we only have an H2 here for our website, okay? Now, as you can see here on the console, we do not have anything at all right now. So to display something in the console, there is a method that we're going to use, which is called console.log. So for that, let's go back to MDN, and you're going to type here in the search box, console.log, this one right here, okay? And this is going to explain you what exactly you can do with console.log. So let's read a little bit. The console.log method outputs a message to the web console. The message may be a single string with optional substitution values, or it may be any one or more JavaScript objects, okay? So in other words, we use console.log to display information into the console, into this portion right here. So you're not going to see what we write for the console using console.log in here. You will see it in here, okay? I hope that makes sense, but if you have questions, you can always drop them in the comment section below, okay? Now, as you can see here, we have to use console.log, right? So if I go back to our website and I go back to my Visual Studio Code, right? I am not going to type anything here in our HTML document. What I'm going to do is go to our JavaScript document, and I am going to hit console.log. Now remember, that log in the parentheses, this is the method, okay? That log. You can have several methods using console, but for now, I am going to explain the .log method, okay? So what we're telling our code, our JavaScript code right now here is console, meaning you, log, display, I could say, right, in my words, display something or whatever that I write in parentheses. So if I display, let's say, I'm going to type in a word, hello, okay, in parentheses. Let's use hello world, the typical one. Now, if you have noticed, I added quotes around the hello world word because this is a string. And I will explain what a string is later on. For now, just know that this is going to display hello world in our console. So if I hit save, oh, and remember to close everything with this. Okay, so if I hit save, and now I hit refresh on my website, you see, now here it says hello world. Okay, that's how you use the console to display something in the console. You just have to type in console.log. And this is going to be very useful for us because later on we're going to be declaring variables and we are going to call the variables back to see and to make sure that they're working fine. And you will be able to see this in the console. As you can see, when I typed this in here in our JavaScript code, nothing happens to our actual website. The user cannot see anything happening into our website, but you as a developer can see that actually we type in hello world to the console. And you can type anything that you want. Let's say that we want to do console.log, and then in parentheses, we want to say, I don't know, let's say 8 plus 9, 8 plus 9, okay? If we want to log that into our console, we're going to hit save. Now I'm going to hit refresh again. And now you see, it says hello world. And now it says 17. Why? Because this is an operation that we just did in parentheses. So that's another thing that I am going to explain when, we're going deeply in the course. Okay, this is another data type. So in other words, that's the main reason that you are going to use the console. Now, what if we have probably forgotten to add something into our console, right? Or if we have an error here. Let's say that I didn't type in console.log. Let's say that I just put console.og, and instead of console, I type in console with Z. Okay, so I'm going to hit save, and now I'm going to hit refresh. You see this error right here? It says uncaught reference error. Console is not defined, JS1. Okay, so this is telling you 1 and then columns 1, meaning that we have an error in the first line right here. If you click on the error, you go back here, you click on the error, then you can see the error right here. It's telling you, no, this is not how it's supposed to be. What did you did here? You are typing something that is not correct. So that's what I meant when we were talking about debugging. That's exactly how we know where the error is. So now we can go back to our code and we can correct the error, right? The errors that we did here, hit save, and going back to our console, let's go ahead and hit refresh again. And now, boom, everything is working nice again. So hello world, and then the number 17 here. Okay, so that's exactly how you use the console. Now, I am typing here in our JS document because I want to show you how it actually works, how the console actually works, right, with our actual document when we're writing in our document. However, you are also able to type in direct commands here in the console and actually have it display whatever you want. And you can type it right into your web browser. You don't have to necessarily type the code in here unless you want it, of course, to save. But if let's say that you just want to test something and see if it works, you can type it right here. I can type in console.log and then in parentheses 10 plus 1, right? And then hit enter, and then the console is going to return back the number 11. So if you just want to test something, let's say something random and something that you don't want to save in your actual document in here, and you just want to test it out and see if it works, then this is the way that you will do it. And I hope that makes sense. But if you still have questions, remember, you can always drop them in the comment section below. Okay, so that'll be for today's episode. Now you know what the console is, what you can do with it, and how we are going to be working with this console in our next episodes. Okay, everybody. So remember, if you have questions, always leave them in the comment section below. I'll reply as soon as I can. Okay, everybody. So I hope that you like this episode. Remember, if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. That really helps the algorithm. And remember, everybody, that you can always ask Lixi. Bye, everyone, and see you again in the next episode.